Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the MidBeach Neighborhood Association's May 2023 General Meeting. MBNA represents condominiums and hotels from 24th Street to 63rd Street along Collins Avenue and Indian Creek Drive in the MidBeach neighborhood of Miami Beach, Florida. We welcome you all here today. We know that today is a little bit of an update based on our annual meeting. We want to thank all of you that came. We had a full house at our annual meeting at the Edition Hotel. We want to thank our board member, the Edition Hotel, and Jose Flores for welcoming us to their property. It was a beautiful property. It was a wonderful ceremony, and the Rhythm Foundation had a great performer that we all got to meet and enjoy towards the beginning of the meeting. So I want to thank both of them for hosting us and for participating in our annual meeting. Today's meeting is only 2 weeks after our last meeting. As a reminder, we meet on the first Wednesday of every month from January to June, then again from September to November, leaving July and August. The summer months are off, and December for respecting our hotel members that are ever so busy during Art Basel and the end of the year. We also do not meet during that month of December. But unless there is a holiday, such as in April, when Passover began the first Wednesday of the month, we will, if we don't conflict with a holiday or a commission meeting, we will be meeting on the first Wednesday of the month from 6 to 7:30. Our meeting link is always located on the home page of our website, midbeach.net, and you're welcome to join and share that link with others. The only individuals that receive this invite for today's meeting are those that are signed up as our designated members or who have reached out to us directly requesting to be invited to today's meeting. Additionally, the MBNA has several active working groups. We have a Beachwalk working group that we'll hear from today and discuss a little more of the progress that group is making. We have Beach and Water Quality and Access working group that meets on the third Wednesday of the month at 4 p.m. And they're very much targeted towards some of the agreements with concession stands, sargassum, looking at the water quality, both on the beach side as well as the Indian Creek side, exploring how the Indian Creek side, the commercial use of the docks have been impacting the raising of the bridge, our water quality, the docks, and just our quality of life for those that reside along Indian Creek or face the Indian Creek waterway. Aside from Beachwalk and the beach and water quality working groups, we also have a public space working group. And that working group this past year has focused on transforming what used to be the Indian Beach Park to the MidBeach Park on 46th and Collins. And they're now working with the city, exploring the possibility of converting the space on 34th. There's an open space that's become organically a dog park. And so looking at how they possibly can activate that space to make it a dog park. In addition, we have the Collins North working group and the Collins South working group. Collins South working group represents 24th to 44th, and the Collins North working group represents 44th to 63rd. They work together and jointly, these two working groups, although they do have sometimes separate meetings and separate items, most of their meetings are joint meetings and looking at the coordination along the entire corridor. The Indian Creek working group is keeping a close eye on the flood mitigation project, where we have been told that we're only 1 month away from finalizing the seawall. And you can see videos and updates on our website, again, at midbeach.net. And the next step is something that MBNA has been advocating for the past 4 years, and that's a walkway. When we first started advocating, the design or city's design or proposal had only included 4 blocks between 25th and 41st. The last design we saw was near 13 or just over 13 blocks, which is a huge accomplishment and a testament to MBNA's involvement in the process and really to all of you and all the partners. And that's how we got to meet Rory Greenberg, who was with us a moment ago and what formerly was known as the Powley House. So we're looking forward to reigniting that project as well as the Jersey barriers. I know we've heard you can't do much for those Jersey barriers, but we beg to differ and hope that we will be able to do more and be able to make those aesthetically pleasing and really aligned with the brand that we're promoting here in our MidBeach neighborhood. The bike lane was installed, congratulations. Unfortunately, the white poles have almost all disappeared, and there's not any true protection for our cyclists. And as the road continues to be used and we're looking at folks that are crossing and biking, many of our members have witnessed some disturbing instances over the past couple of months. And we'll hear a little more from our Indian Creek Working Group Chair, who also represents MBNA on the Transportation, Parking, Pedestrian, Bicycle Facilities Committee at the City of Miami Beach. So with that welcome, I'd like to introduce and call this meeting to order and do a roll call of our Board of Director members. Vice President and Secretary and Public Space Chair, Deborah Lake, are you with us today?
Hi, I'm here. Nice to see everyone.
Thank you, Deborah, for being with us. Our Treasurer and Collins South Working Group Chair, Justin Jacobs. Are you with us today?
I'm here.
Thank you, Justin. And Justin is on paternity leave, so an extra big thank you to you and congratulations on welcoming a new addition to your family. Thank you for being with us. Our Beachwalk Working Group and Collins North Working Group Chair and ex officio board member, Alicia Casanova. Are you with us today?
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Our Beach and Water Quality Working Group Chair, Oscar Vasquez, is traveling internationally and will not be able to join us today. Our Indian Creek Working Group Chair, Esteban Porcelli, are you with us today?
Yes, here.
Great, thank you, Esteban, for being with us.
Thank you.
Do we have our hotel member from the Edition Hotel? We're representing the Edition Hotel, Jose Flores, with us today?
No, he's traveling as well. He sent a text that he's out of the country, opening up another Edition hotel in Rome.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, he does get a pass after the amazing annual meeting that he hosted for us 2 weeks ago. Michelle Redlick, representing the Fontainebleau Hotel, are you with us today?
Yes.
Hi, Michelle. Thank you for being here. We do have quorum and the meeting is called to order. We have the brief minutes can be found also on our website. They entail just who was called, who are the officers for this coming year and the role that they'll be playing, as well as the summary of the projects that were discussed at our last meeting. From the executive board, is there a motion to approve the minutes?
Yes, I make a motion to approve.
Motion, Michelle, is there a second?
I'll go
Second.
and second that.
Second by Deborah
Deborah
Lake.
That's
All in
second.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Here
No.
none. Motion passes. Okay, we have a treasurer's report. Justin, would you like to present it?
Sure. So do balances as of end of April in our First Horizon account, we had $5,279.85. In our PayPal account, we had $188.29 for a total of $5,468.14. That compares to total balances in two accounts as of end of March of $5,425.64. We had one debit in the month for our G Suite of $6 and one deposit of $48.50.
Thank you, Justin. Anything that you'd like to share with the members, anything with regards to invoices or memberships or any other updates from the treasurer?
I would say that we're doing some cleaning up, and I expect in the coming months we'll be reaching out to all the members on the invoicing. So that will be coming. We'll be reaching out to people.
Great. And just after our annual meeting, that usually seems to ramp up. So thank you so much. We have some special guests with us today. I see the police department is here and present with us. Captain Baldwin, Captain Garcia, Officer Rodriguez, others. Captain Baldwin, would you like to introduce yourself and the team?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Oh, there we go. I get the camera on. Good evening, Anna Marie. It's always a pleasure to be here. Unfortunately, I had to miss the in-person one last month. I was out of town, so but I hear it went great. I hear it. Everyone had a great time. I have Captain Feldman and Captain Garcia on here with me today. I'll just briefly go over a couple quick things, and then if there's any questions, I know there were some questions about some updates, so we'll get onto that. We haven't had any major issues in MBNA this past month. Everything seems to be at this point seems to be going smoothly. Compared over this time last year, we're down in crime almost across the board in MBNA. We've seen a slight uptick in vehicle burglaries. That seems to be a not only county-wide problem, but a Broward and Dade County problem, specifically targeting high-end vehicles. And the method of breaking into these cars seems to be they're simply left unlocked. So I'd like to get out to the members. If you have your cars parked, make sure you lock them. Make sure you take your key fobs in. The county, we haven't really had many issues, but the counties have a problem lately with the high-rise buildings and thefts from valet. They've had some vehicle thefts from valet, and they've had incidents where keys have been stolen from the actual valets. So if you have a valet at your building, please make sure that they're securing their keys well. We haven't had any problems, so I'm hoping that's the case here, that we're all squared away, but please remind them to be on top of that. We did institute over the past month or so detail from 46th Street to 63rd Street on the Beachwalk, specifically addressing motorized and electric vehicles on the Beachwalk. That was a what I would class as a resounding success. I know a lot of your members saw us out there. We were specifically, we hit it with a two-prong approach. We did education. I know that Officer Hazy and Officer Blanco hit a lot of your buildings with flyers, educational flyers telling people what was acceptable and not on the Beachwalk. And then we had enforcement out there 2 times a day on different shifts, where we educated and wrote citations to the people on the Beachwalk who are in violation. At the end of the month that we did it, we saw a marked decrease in those vehicles on the Beachwalk in that area, and an increase along Collins Avenue, which means that they were, instead of going to the Beachwalk, they were utilizing Collins. A lot of those folks are people who live in the north end of the beach. They're coming to work at your buildings in the south, and they were traversing on that Beachwalk, but those vehicles just aren't safe to be on there. They're too fast, and we didn't have any major accidents, but it could lead to it. So we wanted to see if we could nip that in the bud. But I think that's it, unless there's any specific questions.
Yes, actually, do you have any specific statistics? So when you said that we're down, for example, the first trend you mentioned, that we're down compared to last year in crime, do we have any comparison from last year to this year? When we talk about the outreach that's been done to the buildings, did you go to in MBNA, which I appreciate, but like the MidBeach neighborhood is what I'm assuming you're referring to, the 24th to 63rd. Which buildings did you go to? Did you go to condominiums and hotels? Do you have metrics for the citations to better understand what types of citations, how many, what time of the day those were given? I know some of the members have talked about that, how appreciative they've been of the increased police presence on the Beachwalk this past year, but that during our peak hours, we seem to not, there was we hadn't gotten the scheduling, it wasn't right, or the police wasn't present at the time that they wanted, where there were the most, where there's larger exposure or more individuals that they felt they were more vulnerable at certain hours of the day, and that there wasn't any kind of surveillance. Those are the first 3 questions. And then the fourth one was along cameras. So during our GEO bond had provided funding for cameras on a large portion of the Beachwalk, but the MidBeach area was cut out of that. And as all of you have heard in the past, MBNA feels that was because there was no representation from an MBNA property on the oversight committee when projects were selected for the GEO bond. And so we're looking to have funding allocated. We were told funding had been allocated, and then COVID had come, and then now we were told it was allocated again. And so that's the fourth thing. Again, statistics on comparisons from last year, outreach, better understanding what kind of efforts had happened, citation, what stats are there, the cameras. And the reason why the cameras was so important was because we had recently received reports that there was a rape just south of our boundaries, so on 23rd recently, and individuals perceiving that they're not as safe, especially in the early hours or later hours of the evening. And so if you could help us cover those or call on anyone on your team. And then I'm going to go back and introduce additional folks. I know this was just the introduction part, but since you jumped right into the item, we'll go back and do introductions.
I have a couple of questions regarding the beach walk, but I guess you're going to stay on for the meeting, right, Captain Baldwin?
I'll be on for most of it, but let me address those first because that was a lot of.
She's doing intros. Why don't you do the intros first, Anne Marie, so we can, because I know a couple commissioners may have to leave. So if you can introduce them.
Yes,
That
we
works
will,
for
we
me
will,
too.
we will in a moment. Let's just, if we can, let's wrap this up and then we'll go back to the introductions. Captain Baldwin?
Okay, I'll be quick as possible. I don't have specific numbers of the citations. They were specifically targeting electrical and motorized vehicles on the beach walk. I can pull those and get them back to you. I have them handy, but not right in front of me. The buildings, my directive to Officer Hazy and Blanco was to hit all of the buildings from 63rd Street down to 46th Street. And even south of there, I will make sure that they got all of those. But we did pass out the flyers, and I believe Officer Hazy email blasted out the flyers to not only the MBNA, but to other homeowners associations. I'm trying, the third one was, I know the cameras and we'll have.
Comparison from last year, if you'd like to
Oh, yes,
bring
I'm
that
sorry.
back to us
Okay.
as well. And then the other one is the
Yep.
camera. Personal safety was
Yep.
sent to us. They told us we never did anything with the emergency
it.
poles and there's more coming up in the beach walk, which I don't want to take away from the beach walk working group. But
Okay.
those are just items, if you'd like to stay on or pull those
Yeah,
up.
I'll stay on. I'll stay on,
Okay.
but let me hit this quick. So real quick, the last month compared to this month last year, April of last year, we're down 20% in aggravated batteries. Auto thefts remain stagnant. Burglaries are down 16%. Frauds down 25%, though I will say a lot of those are ID thefts. There's something that may not even occurred on Miami Beach, but they were reported where the person lives. We are down 50% in robberies. Thefts are down 47%. And again, the only uptick was a total of 2 cases in vehicle burglaries. We went from 3 to 5. So we talked about those. Real quick, let me touch on the sexual battery that occurred just south of MBNA. Yes, unfortunately, we did have one. We do have cameras in that area, and they're instrumental. We were able to identify the subject, and he has since been arrested. So the cameras did prove invaluable in that. And if you want some more information on the camera program itself, I can pass you off to Captain Garcia, or if you'd like to address that later, that's as good as well.
Thank you
Okay.
so much, Captain Baldwin. Anyone else, did Captain Garcia or anyone else like to make a comment?
A quick, well, we'll talk about it in beach walk.
Yes.
Let's keep going, keep going.
Thank you. So I want to continue with the introductions. So welcome to so many of our members. We're only 2 weeks from our annual meeting, and we're very grateful that you all joined. I know that we'd like to keep that first Wednesday of the month. So I apologize that it was so close to the last meeting. There's no commission meeting. There's no holiday today. So we're meeting on the first Wednesday of this month. Today with us, we have some elected officials that I'd like to recognize. I know Marina, the aide of the state senator, Chevron Jones, who has been instrumental in orchestrating a public meeting that we'll be having on May 18th with Florida Department of Transportation's District 6 Secretary Miller, as well as our city commission and member and Miami-Dade County and other transportation officials. So Marina, I believe you're driving to the Capitol right now and you have your camera off, but if you can hear us, can you please say a quick hello?
Hi, yes, so hello, MidBeach Neighborhood Association. I haven't gone back to the Capitol yet because I was just trying to wait to see if I could say hello. But if you haven't already met me, my name is Marina. I work for State Senator Chevron Jones. We're currently up in Tallahassee. It is day 57 and out of 60. And so we cannot wait to come home and join you all back in the district, attend some events. And if you guys need anything, of course, I'll put my information in our office information in the chat. But just really quick, so as Anna Maria said, we will be having a FDOT Miami Beach Town Hall. And this is going to be on May 18th in the Miami Beach Commission Chambers. We'll be sending out a flyer shortly. And the MidBeach Neighborhood Association, Miss Anna Maria has been gracious enough to join us in this event, and she will be one of the, she will be the MC and will be helping facilitate the discussion with FDOT District Secretary, I'm sorry, FDOT Secretary Stacy Miller from District 6, as well as the Miami-Dade County Public Works and Transportation Department to talk about some of the construction projects that are giving a lot of our residents headaches on Miami Beach. So we'll share more information, and now I do have to go back to the Capitol, but I just wanted to say hello, and we are looking forward to the next in-person meeting. Senator Jones and our team look forward to attending as well.
Thank you so much, Marina. And we have with us today Commissioner Stephen Minor.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Good to see you.
Good to see you. Thank you for joining us. And we have with us also, we have Monica from the office of Commissioner Fernandez. Monica, are you with us?
I'm here. Hey, everybody. Thanks for having me tonight. It's always a pleasure to be with you guys.
Thank you so much for being with us. And do we have any other city commissioner or representative here with us today? Okay, we have some candidates that have joined the meeting and staff of those candidates that are here with us. I knew I had seen a couple join earlier.
Michael Gongora is there.
Okay, so we have Michael Gongora, who is currently running for mayor of Miami Beach. Michael.
Thank you, Anna Maria, and good afternoon and early evening, everybody. Thank you for recognizing us. I'm got to leave early because I'm working a condo meeting remotely on Zoom at 6:30. I am a co-founder of MBNA, a resident of the area, a candidate to be your mayor, endorsed by the Miami Beach Fraternal Order of Police, many commissioners and many others, but I look forward to meeting you all soon, and I welcome the opportunity to speak with you at your individual condo buildings. Please reach out to me, Michael at michaelgongora.com, and Valerie, who's with my campaign team, will be staying on even when I leave.
Thank you so much, Michael. And thank you, Valerie, for staying with us. Any other candidates that are with us today that would like to introduce yourselves?
Michael Greco was on, but he's not on now.
Okay, anyone else that is with us right now? Okay, any member updates before we move to that first item?
No.
Okay, so today we have a special presentation, really short and sweet, from Scott Evans with the Public Safety and Telecom. Ambar is just joining us now. I apologize, we're going to go right back. Ambar, did you, I know you were on earlier, did you want to? Yes, did you want to say hello?
Hi, sorry, I'm commuting, but yes, my name is Amber Herrera Gonzalez. I'm Commissioner Kristen Rosen Gonzalez's aide. Happy to be here.
Thank you so much for joining us. And so today we have Scott Evans with Public Safety and Telecom, GM. He is going to be presenting for a couple of minutes. He's going to be sharing what the communications requirements are for all high-rise buildings. This greatly impacts our Mid-Beach area. As we know, it's a very dense area between 24th and 63rd Street. Scott, you're now a co-host of the meeting and can also share your screen if you'd like.
Thank you all. I appreciate the opportunity. I'm going to try to condense an hour meeting into 3 minutes. So okay, 2 minutes. Basically, one of the things that we're trying to get the word out, because we keep finding the word is not getting out. There is a state law that is in effect for the end of the year and requirements that have to be met by all buildings. And that is what we call a coverage test or grid walk test for all buildings for a public safety system. Now, what public safety is the radio systems for the fire department, the police officers, EMS, anything that resides on a specific band. And there is a requirement of coverage of 99% in core areas, which are stairwells, fire, anywhere that fire department would typically go, pump rooms, things like that, and a 95% coverage all the way out to the edge of the building where the residents live. And so the grid walk test is designed to take radio signal readings floor by floor by floor and identify whether there is a valid signal strength. Does it meet the requirements? Does it not? If you do not meet those requirements, you're still required to have the test by the end of the year. Then you have to have a plan in place to implement either a repair or an addition of a system by the end of 2024. So they give you 1 year, but the requirement is that you pull a permit and you have a contractor signed by the end of the year. Now, just so you understand, there's over 400 buildings in in the Miami-Dade area, high rises. Most of them do not have this. Newer buildings tend to have them. From 2015 forward, most of them do. The older buildings tend not to have them or have parts of them. Some people may have gotten tests. This is a law that's been on the books, by the way, since 2019. During COVID, it was by the legislature, they extended it for 2 years. So this is the end of, at the end of this year, beginning of 2024, you have to have it by the end of the year. And then by the end of 2025, you have to have it fixed. The Florida statute, just so you know, is 633.202. That's the state law that requires it. Now, the AHJ, or authority having jurisdiction, which is the fire department, they have the option of what the rules are. Their rules are the same as Miami-Dade counties. Basically, you're required to have the inspection and the other. I've spoken with the AHJ for Miami-Dade County. They're talking somewhere in the neighborhood, just so you know, of fines if you don't comply. Maybe not this year. I think you're going to get a pass this year, but by 2025, it may be in the neighborhood of $500 a day. So this, and there's been some talk. In fact, I had a meeting this morning with another fire marshal on another part of the state, and there is some talk about doing away with the law. Now, I will say this, it is not, if the law goes away for political reasons, your requirement to do it doesn't go away. Even though it may not be a state law, it becomes a standard by which you must meet. So they want you to
It's a
make sure
standard.
your
I apologize, can I ask a question on it? So it's a standard, even if you have an existing building, it's not a standard if you're developing a new building.
It is
then
a
it
requirement.
becomes
If you're building a new building, you have to.
Right,
don't
you have to, which that's understood, that when something becomes on, then when you're building it. What about those that are already existing in the Mid-Beach area?
They all are required to have them.
They will be required, okay.
Yes, they are. Those are the ones we're trying. The older buildings are the ones we're targeting more so than the other, because we know they don't comply. So it's a two-step process, but the legislature has been kind of going back and forth, and I've heard today that there's some talk of getting away with it, but it's become one, it's already on the books. So it's become the standard, and what that's going to affect is insurance and your liability on the insurance side. Should you choose not to do it, then your liability increases. So it makes you at a higher risk. So we're here to help. Information, meetings. I do meetings all the time with building managers, board members, things like that, to get the word out of what you need to do. We actually do the testing. We actually do the installations and stuff like that. So whatever you guys need, we're kind of here to help. I'm just really trying to push out and get the word out so people are at least aware, because a lot of people I've spoken to have never heard of it.
Can you go through what's the cost of, what does it entail to do a review? And what is the cost for an installation? And if the installation is at a certain amount by square footage, or is it just one, or what does that look like? Also, you mentioned all high-rise buildings. Can you go through it a little more in detail? What does that entail? Is that more than 4 units? Is that more than 12 units? Is that more than 100 units? Or what are we?
Sorry, I should have clarified. It's 75 feet or above. So if your building is under 75 feet, you're not required to meet that this standard. But if you're above 75 feet, just so you know, it's about 8 stories. So if you're under 8 stories, you're probably okay. If you're on 8 to 9, you might be on, depending on how your building was built, but it's 75 feet.
And that also includes hotels?
It includes every building, a
Every
commercial.
building above 75. Okay, commercial or residential, it doesn't, it's the same. But I
The
just want to,
hotel, typically commercial and hotels, their requirement was to be done by the end of 2021. They had to have all their stuff done. Now, this is the residential requirement that that's in place now.
okay, Alicia, I believe you had a question.
So I have a question. First of all, the flyer that was posted on the chat is already on the website, on the homepage. And if you may give me your telephone number. Please
Alicia,
contact,
Yep. Sorry.
please contact Mr. Scott Evans, TTS Public Safety. Do you mind sharing your phone? You unmute yourself, Mr. Evans, please. He's muted.
Oh, sorry about that.
Okay.
Yeah, I can give you my phone number. It's 786
Uh-huh.
620
Mm-hmm.
8305.
And TTS is what does that stand for?
That's telecommunications, telecom services. We're a company, we're based out of Alpharetta, Georgia. But the Florida market is all mine.
Okay, so that information is posted on the website already. And Marie asked you about the cost. Do you have an idea of what this means to all of us? It's first news, and we're kind of like, okay, what does it mean for our boards?
Basically, the grid walk test varies in price, but usually around $3,500. And what we do is, if you do need a system, we will actually credit that back on the system that you put in. Now, a BDA system, depending on the number of floors, depending on the size of the building, and what the coverage testing says where we have to put stuff, antennas and signal strength, it can vary anywhere from, just as an example, I've got a 15-story building in Indian Creek that I'm working with right now. That building is going to be somewhere around just under $100,000 to do it. Yes, because we have to get in, run wire and cable all the way up the building, drill holes and everything else. It can be that. I've got other buildings that are 55, 60 stories tall. Those can run up to $300,000-$400,000.
What?
Yes.
It's so very expensive stuff.
Yes, it
Yeah.
is. It is not cheap.
Yeah, I mean,
There's no way they can.
At this
that can't
moment,
happen before January 1st. That's 6 months. 5. That's
Well, remember, the grid testing is only required to be done by January 1st this year. You're not required to put the system in. So, but what they're saying is you need to be prepared and have a permit and contracts by then. That's the state law. It's up to the AHJ how they enforce it, fire marshal in their inspections. But I'm just
let's hope this legislature removes that requirement. Let's see what happens.
well, remember, if they remove it or they don't remove it, your insurance company is going to hold you to that. If something happens in that building and you do not have it in place, your liability is increased because you know about it. So it becomes.
you did mention, and we heard that earlier, but you mentioned there was a 400. Did you say 400 high rises in Miami?
Roughly around there.
So we have over 100 properties, 116 properties here, just in our district, from 24th to 63rd, and most of those are above 7 floors. We have a few in the Indian Creek corridor from 25th to 41st that may not qualify, and we have several that do, such as King Towers, where Esteban is from. But we have so many. If you had to do all of these, can't you give us a better deal? Like, it
would be nice if I would love to do them all, but physically, the amount of time. I mean, these systems don't go in overnight. These take planning, installations. It can take a week to 2 weeks to actually do the work in the building. So if you
understood, but having your crews here and doing one building after another, there's got to be a better price point. I mean, just something.
How many other companies are doing this as well?
There are a lot of other companies out there doing it.
Yeah, but you're the first to present to MBNA.
Well, you know what? I got into this. I've been in the condo world for 20 years. I got into this and because I saw a need. And one of the first few phone calls I made around were to some of my contacts, and they knew nothing about this state law. And it's been on the books since 2019. There's and this is addressed to the commissioners and everybody else that are here. There's no push from government. There's no push from anything to get the word out. The news media is not covering it, things like that. And so you guys are left, and I'm left to dealing with meeting by meeting by meeting to try to get the word out, go to the property management associations, talk to them, trying to get them together to do it. I've just been doing this for the last 4 months, and that's all I've been doing is trying to get the word out wherever I can. So
Right.
that's the urgency to it, is part of what I'm dealing with. So yes, there are plenty of companies out there that do it, but remember, and I will say this because I've seen it, there is the statute, in the statute, there's some specific wording in there that whatever they put in has to meet this, and I'll send it out to you so you have it. Because I've seen quotes come back and they say, yeah, I can do this for 150,000. Yet the next quote's 400,000. But nowhere are they going to sign on the bottom line saying, I will do it to this. Because a lot of what they do is say, hey, I'll do it for this. But by the way, all these exclusions, now you end up paying more and more as a building.
Okay.
Because they come back for a change order.
Okay, well, thank you so much for informing us, for bringing this to light. We'll definitely shop around. I think that our goal would be here in MBNA to make sure everybody is in compliance, but we also want to be sensitive to many of the assessments, many of the positions these properties are in, and maybe even our older hotels. We don't know yet. So maybe doing an inventory and finding out from our membership who needs it, who doesn't. We'll send maybe a quick survey out to everyone. And once we have that information, we'll reach back out to you and to other vendors. But I think that ideally, we're going to be looking for some kind of a bulk deal for our community. I mean, we have so many properties right here. We understand everybody has to get it done. And we know that there's a lot of nuances with contracts, et cetera. But it would be great if there was a possibility where you all could save money by having your crews go from building to building in a certain geographic area and get more done quicker. I know you said that maybe you don't have the capacity to do them all, but if there was a section, et cetera, we'd love to continue this conversation. Do any other members have any questions or comments before we move on to the next item? Jay Goldstein, I believe in our chat, has written, what is 633.202 exactly? Some radio
Florida
frequencies
statute.
available in 95%.
Yeah, that has to be discussed privately. So his number is posted on the chat and also on the website, so you can call him, ask questions, and then as we move forward, we'll get as much information as we can.
And listen, if you guys, just one quick thing, if you guys want to organize some of this as far as bulk, I'm willing to discuss what we can do to help. And if you guys or anybody has questions, they're welcome to reach out to me and ask questions and answer them. It's for me, it's more of getting the word out and getting it done right than go through all the time. I used to sit on a board, so I understand what it's like to get 3 proposals and you have to analyze them and you're not getting apples to apples. So
Right.
whatever we can do to help, I'm willing to be there to help answer questions and help where I can.
Thank you so much, Scott, and thank you for being with us today. We're going to move on, and I apologize, my eyes are very tired, so I'm going to wear some reading glasses to move on to the next item. And one more thing, Scott, sorry, before you leave. Each member of MBNA, what's really important to understand the structure of our organization is each member represents and is a voting member for their property. So they are a direct vehicle to the board of directors or management or owners of their properties. And so working or mobilizing around them, they're also the biggest group of worker bees I've ever seen. I mean, every single person in MBNA seems to just be ready to go. And so getting the word out, making your job easier and closing more deals, this is really a fantastic group to pitch it to. So thanks again for your time, and we look forward to some continued conversations.
I'm available anytime you need help. Thank you.
Thank you. So we have just one quick item in the Public Space Committee. And so I'm going to move to that before we go back to the beach walk. Today we have, I believe we have Parks with us. John Del Risco, are you here with us today? I'm sorry, Jose Del Risco?
Yes, ma'am. Hi, how are you? Good evening.
Are you really in a park, or is that just a background?
Park right now.
Oh, I'm sorry you're not in the park. Thank you for being here with us today. We had some of the members discuss the 34th Street. There was like public kind of space that they want to see if it could become a dog park. I was wondering if you had any chance or opportunity to review that item and to explore that possibility for MidBeach.
Yes, good evening. So I was made aware of this
I
item.
apologize. If you could introduce yourself, I apologize.
No problem. Jose Del Risco, and I'm the Assistant Director of Parks and Recreation. Thank you all for having me. I know I've worked with many of you, throughout the year, so it's very nice, certainly, to be here with you. Yeah, so we received the item last night, so I haven't had a whole lot of time to be able to look into too many details. But roughly, there is, in the space that's on 35th Street. It's also historically known as Pan Coast Park. It's a green space that's between the dunes and a parking lot that's there. There's a space that's a green space that's roughly about 11,000 square feet. So certainly, if there were a desire to convert that into a dog park, as was mentioned, by Anna Marie, we certainly would have to incorporate some of the amenities, that would go in a dog park, the fencing, et cetera. But, the space is permissive for that type of activity. Given the nature of where it is, we would need permission from the state as well, because of the fact that it is, east of the coastal construction control line. But it's a rather simple process. It's not a complex process, So, I mean, I'm happy to answer any questions you may have, regarding the space. We certainly would have to work with, other stakeholders in the city that, use the space. For example, just recently it was being used, or it's still being used as part of the beach renourishment project. But, that's just one element.
There was also talk of using the lot behind the MidBeach Park on 46 as a more of a transitional lot where when we're not using it for beach renourishment or staging for construction, as we did with the Beachwalk, that we could activate these public spaces in the MidBeach area and enhance our quality of life by providing areas for either dog parks or areas for folks to congregate and have some type of a vendors, food, where you could have a picnic, where you could meet, where there could be cafes and so forth that would have permits to come in and then be removed. Again, something mobile. And so as we think through the process of converting this area to a potential dog park, and we've added some pictures in the chat for everyone to see, we just want to make sure that the request to the city is to continue to make the areas in MidBeach flexible. And we understand that we want those beautiful wide beaches. We want to be able to deal with sargassum. We want to be able to deal or to invite Art Basel and other great events to the MidBeach neighborhood. And so some of these areas have to be flexible. And so when we look at building out fences for dog parks, et cetera, what are opportunities to undo some of that infrastructure and making it flexible so that we can use the space for different uses in the city? We just wanted to make sure we go on the record with sharing that. Any other comments from our members? And the pictures again are on our chat and will soon be up on our website. Any comments or questions?
Oh, Annie, Michael Grieco's back. I don't know what happened earlier, but he's back. I see him now.
Okay.
I know you called for.
And as our public space chair, Deb, do you have any comments or questions on this item?
No, I'm excited about it.
Okay, great.
I think our parks play a huge role in any city. And by the way, Jose, that you did, I don't know if it was you, but your department did a great job with Brittany Park and Oceanside Park in the North area, North Beach. Those are beautiful. And I think every park should be remodeled and renovated, and with the beauty that Brittany has been done. We congratulate your department on that.
Yeah, thank you for that. We appreciate it tremendously, and we appreciate the amount of tremendous community support that Miami Beach offers, both from a resident standpoint and from a commission standpoint towards our park initiatives. I mean, these conversations, are truly what brings a smile to our faces, in the sense that this is the business we're in. So whenever it comes to expanding park areas, renovating park areas, creating new amenities, that's the field we're in, and we're certainly excited. And we appreciate that feedback, and we appreciate that support. Thank you very much.
Jose, real quick question. The Parks and Recreation, are you in charge of the patrols of their park rangers? Is that part of the Parks and Recreation Department, park rangers?
And we manage the park rangers as well.
Okay, we'll talk about that when we get to the beach walk. Great.
If you'd like to stay on. We're going to pause a second and again, welcome any candidates or elected officials that have joined us here today.
Hi, guys. It's Mike Rico. Sorry I was on and then I was off again. Great to hear that we're talking about the park rangers, because that's one thing I can take credit for, because I actually created that program. So they are part of the Parks Department, but they actually, because by design, they actually all report to a Miami Beach sergeant, and they all also are certified code enforcement officers. So that's one of my proud, tangible accomplishments as your city commissioner back before I went into the state legislature. But thanks for having me as always. Good to see everybody.
Hi, thank you so much for being here. Do you have a quick second to answer a question?
Go ahead.
So from your experience, since they are code enforcement officers as well, what role have they played traditionally in that capacity? Have they been able to contribute to so park rangers, we always see that they're citing folks for maybe not following the rules on the beach walk, or they're playing a supportive role. But would they be able to, I guess what I'm really asking is, would they be able to assist us with the wider our beach walk, the less congestion, less conflicts we have between cyclists and pedestrians and other modes? And so we would like to see less encroachment from the buildings. Is that something that park rangers could also be involved in from your perspective?
The answer is yes. I mean, listen, we don't want Miami Beach to be a reactive enforcement model. Obviously, a lot of times we do things and then it's like, why we can't have nice things, because we attract a lot of different folks to our city, but it ends up that a lot of the rule breakers actually live here. So, I don't like the concept of things being a reactive enforcement model. What I like with the park rangers, and the reason why that program was designed the way it was, we essentially eliminated crime in our park system. Prior to the park rangers, Flamingo Park and some of the other parks that were heavily used, you didn't see kids having birthday parties, and now you do. But a lot of it is just their visibility.
Just visibility. Okay, so just
I mean, listen,
their presence changed that.
Correct. I mean, that's what it really did. So one of the things people don't realize, that most of our park rangers by design are also former honorably discharged military members from the United States. So these are folks that came out of the military, did 3 to 4 years, and want to get into municipal employment. Maybe they don't qualify as a police officer. They didn't want to be a cop right away. So it's kind of an entry-level position for them. But we don't want them running around, especially because they're not armed and they're not police officers. We don't want them running around aggressively engaging with too many people. It's a lot of, observe and report. But I will tell you that behavior absolutely changed, not just from the homeless population, not just from bad actors, but just folks in general. They slow bicycles down. They make sure that people litter less. They're out there. They're just out there as another visible extension of law enforcement in the Parks Department. And the response, it's been expanded every year since we created almost, because the response from residents and from our guests have been nothing but positive. But it's if there's other things on the beach walk that need to be enforced, a lot of times it's an education piece and making sure our park rangers know what the issue is. And what we need to do is speak with the sergeant who they directly report to from the police department. And he's really the one that will lay down the law with them and give them their direction, not the Parks Department.
So I was going to call Sergeant Torres, Alexander Torres, who is in charge, and he was going to present tonight, but I didn't get a chance to, but it doesn't matter. I needed to find out. I think we all want to know exactly what they do and what their boundaries are. I think you've explained that. So we've seen a lot of them, and actually on the website, you'll see the pictures of how many we have seen out in the north area. So what we'd like to do is maybe have Sergeant Torres give us a count as to how many are there, how many of these cute little carts are going around. I mean, Manny actually ran into some of them and they were wonderful. They knew what they're supposed to do. They were talking to electric bike riders and others that were violating some of the rules, and they were very nice. And so I have Sergeant Torres's email address. Anna Marie, let's reach out to him And then for our next meeting, have them present. But the numbers, I would love to get to be able to share those numbers as to how many there are and why they're in North Beach. We have not seen any in MidBeach. So that's
Alicia, what we'll do, because I'm going to let you guys go. I don't want to take up any more of your meeting, but Alicia, I'll do a group text with you and Sergeant Torres, because he actually worked with me in designing the program. So he's been on it since day one for almost a decade now. So I'll loop you up in a text message with him instead of going through email. And then this way you'll probably get a quicker response.
Okay, perfect. Yep, that sounds great.
Thank you so much.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Thanks for being with us. Any other introductions or others that have joined that want to make a comment before we move on to our next item? Robin Jacobs, we see that you're here with us. If you want to jump in or share, I know you wear many hats, including being a MidBeach resident now, but you're also part of the chamber. You're part of the 41st Street Blue Ribbon Committee. You are part of so much magic that happens in our city, and we're very thankful for your service and your involvement. And so if you'd like to say anything, feel free to just jump off of mute and jump into the meeting.
It's a pleasure to be here today in the presence of such a dynamic leadership. First of all, just personal privilege. You run a great meeting. I go to a lot of meetings. This is fabulous. So, and thank you for all the information. I'm just going to absorb today. It's my first MBNA real meeting. I'm going to absorb, and I look forward to participating. I'm going to be representing 2 buildings. So I made sure they renewed their memberships. So, and I will send those in this week. Okay.
Appreciate your outreach. Thank you so much. And very kind words. Thank you. So we do have, and there's been some exchanges between MBNA and the North Beach Association, Neighborhood Association, and some with concerns to park rangers, bollards, a septet approach, looking at other approaches that might be appropriate, et cetera. And we forwarded them on to police. We haven't had a chance to meet with them. I also emailed Chief Clements on the morning of April 20th after I briefly saw him, and I haven't heard back. So, but our emails sometimes go to spam. And so I'm hoping it's just been, it's fallen through the cracks. But MBNA really does need to meet with police to be able to discuss this, not in an open meeting as this one with our general membership, but be able to kind of brainstorm and workshop some items and then bring them back to the general membership and get everybody's feedback. So we did send a pretty detailed request, and it is budget season, and we just want to make sure that we're advocating for what's most effective in our community. Again, #1 priority has been those cameras, and just along with some of the other details that the Beachwalk working group chair has been fearlessly leading. So Alicia Casanova, if you'd like to give us an update on your working group.
Okay, let me share the screen here real quick. So basically, so last week we walked through Surfside. Commissioner Minor, I think you're here. So Commissioner Minor was coming up with some ideas and about adding a new pedestrian path to the beach walk. And after walking through Surfside and seeing what's going on there, everything that happens, we post here on the website because it's easier for everybody to see. We're concerned about, obviously, about what's going on with safety. We want to actually know how many accidents have happened, how many bicycles have hit pedestrians. According to the patrols, there are quite a few. Some are documented and reported. They're taken by ambulance. Some get up and, go home full of scratches and bruises. But there are a lot of bicycle accidents at the beach walk. So the idea would be to create a new beach pedestrian path. And this would be an option. This will not eliminate the bicycle lane, but this could possibly be an option. And it could be built right next to the dunes, east of the dunes, where the emergency vehicles go, which we could move it. It could be 6 feet wide. It doesn't have to be something very, very wide or anything like that. It's just so that people that really are scared for their lives of going in the beach walk during busy seasons and in the 15-foot stretches, so that they have an option to walk on the beach side. It could be done with the Moby mats that are here, and or it could be done with a Pede Rock. I'm gonna show you in a minute. But I'm hoping that Commissioner Minor takes this upon himself and we will do what we can to see if this is possible. We can start with a pilot, maybe a pilot in the areas that are 15-foot stretches, and see if this is a great option for people to be able to walk by the ocean and get away from the beach walk when it's full of people and when it's full of speeding bicyclists. No matter how many patrols we have, no matter how many police officers we have, there's going to be people violating the no electric rule, and that's inevitable. So in Surfside, they're lucky that I don't know how they got the environmentalists to be able to open a walking lane right in the middle of the dunes. So they have basically a walking lane up east, and then they have a bicycle lane west with about a 30-foot separation. And as you can see, let me show you this little video clip real quick. So this is the P rock that could possibly be installed. I guess it takes a little while to download it.
Pedestrians.
We're not advocating for 2 lanes. We're advocating for one. Imagine this one east of the dunes with compacted sand, or this one.
Here's a Moby mat in Surfside. You're at 8,700. And this is what they use to get access to the beach from the condos.
Whichever one the experts say, whichever is more appropriate, whichever is makes more sense. I mean, the Moby mats are good because the water can rise. We can be in a hurricane, we can be in a storm, and the water rises and nothing happens to them. I mean, if we have good compacted gravel like this, it may not be damaged either, but it may. So it's just a great option that we're going to start advocating for, because there's no other solution to make the beach walk safer. And we're constantly getting complaints about that. Commissioner Minor, do you have anything you'd like to share with us about this? That would be great.
You said it beautifully. Obviously, as you probably know, city staff is raising some issues with environmental concerns. We got to get state approval, but we got to try, and we got to push it hard, and I'm going to do that, and with your help. So I'd like to see make this happen. It's a complaint that I get all the time from folks about the beach walk, that they feel like they can't enjoy it properly because they're so concerned about their safety. So this is a mechanism to address that.
And Commissioner, another mechanism would be to help facilitate or expediting the protected bike lanes where there's a safe environment on the roadways, because we do have a network that we have been advocating for the last 5 years to really connect all of Mid-Beach to South Beach and to the North Beach neighborhoods. But having that adjacent to the beach walk would help for some of the cyclists. We had Peloton of bikers, huge groups of bikers out last weekend on the beach walk on both Saturday and Sunday morning around 7 a.m. in an area where there's no cameras, and there were no park rangers at that time. And it just makes it very uncomfortable for those of us that like to run or walk in the mornings, or take our children or older adults, or walking our pets, or whatever it may be. We have to get those larger groups of bikes off of the beach walk and allow for those that want to have recreational biking or at regular speeds, or those that are commuting to and from work could definitely use the on-road but safe facilities. If we replicate what we've put into Indian Creek Drive, it's just a liability issue for the city, and it's really a disservice to the residents and to the taxpayers that consider our streets to be an asset in our community. We have very few roads in Mid-Beach, and being able to facilitate or advocate for those projects to get done as quickly and in a proper manner is also another solution that we could look at and making the beach walk a little less congested. There are a couple of other options as well that I've heard the Beach Walk Working Group discussing. And of course, we're always here to support any good ideas that are environmentally friendly, align with the sustainability principles, and promote that safe commute. So thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Commissioner Minor. We will be in touch with other commissioners as well to see how we can all get behind this. So here are some pictures that we're telling you about the park rangers. As you can see, there's no bricks. So this is all north of 63rd, and we want to get them back to the mid-beach area. These are the wonderful park rangers that we've been talking about. So this is, I know the Commissioner Dominguez is advocating for bollards, the retractable safety bollards at every entryway. Of course, the continuous installation of the surveillance cameras, the safety signage and directional paver markings that stopped on 25th. They started, very exciting, wow, wow, and all of a sudden it's gone. The no smoking signs, we need to, we're going to talk about that in a minute because there is a ban on smoking, but it doesn't specifically say that it addresses the beach walk. So we have to reword that language because we are getting some complaints that there are smokers going on and leaving cigarette butts everywhere. So we have to talk about that as well. This is the signage that we want to continue. This is south of 25th Street, and this was a great stay right to the side, which helps people know where they're going. These are the signs that should continue being installed from 25th north all the way through, but at least through 63rd. These are up already. And of course, if you keep going here, those that haven't installed their property signage, you can just continue to order them. More and more condos are putting their beautiful signage up, which identifies you also as a MidBeach member. So this is a lot of things are happening with the beach right now. I think this is a priority. And of course, what Anna Maria was saying about the bicycle lanes on Collins, that is a long-term project. This could potentially be a much simpler project if we can pull this one off. And until we get the protected bike lanes, which is what we've been advocating for, let's start with this beach pedestrian path, and we're excited about it. Any questions on the beach walk?
One thing I just want to mention, the continual, they have to monitor the growth on the beach walks, because especially when you go down to the 20s, it gets really narrow, and a lot of buildings or hotels still are encroaching on the beach walk, and it's impossible.
So we did a walk with the code compliant officer, and honestly, it had improved a lot. There are 2 hotels still violating, but from all these pictures here that you see, this is the historical section in our website. Look what it used to look like. It's gotten a lot better. Still a few, they've issued hundreds of fines, and he's not here with us today, but code compliance is very involved. Actually, he went to the addition for our last meeting. He was there. And they are giving fines or notices of violation, and there has been a lot of improvement. So we're looking forward to everybody at one point taking care of maintaining their shrubs so that they do not encroach this path, which is the most important area for us to be safe when we're walking. I think all walkers are using this 15-inch concrete to stay away from the bikes. So that's where we are right now, but feel free to go to the website and take a peek at everything that's there.
Thank you, Alicia. Can we talk a little bit about the around hotels? What we're seeing is that visitors that are coming to Miami Beach are using the beach walk as kind of a staging place to hang out and smoke cigarettes in particular. And Commissioner Fernandez had proposed, from our understanding, section 89-2, or 82-9, sorry, 82-9, that prohibited or banned cigarettes from the beaches and public parks. And we want, what MBNA has been discussing this week, is how do we advocate for the expansion of that to include our public spaces that are the beach walk, because we use that as somewhat of a recreational park and as a multi-use way. So Monica, I know you're with us here. That's something that we would like to see if that would be of interest to the office.
Thank you. Yes, I did get your email about that. I think that's very interesting. And we're going to circle back with our city attorney and see what we can do. And maybe it's expanding the ordinance or proposing a new ordinance, but we're definitely going to look into this. So thank you for bringing it to our attention.
Thank you so much, Monica. Any other comments or questions on the beach walk? Miami-Dade County Mayor Levine Cava held a public meeting with MidBeach Neighborhood Association. And to our knowledge, it was the first of this kind to discuss specifically the efforts of the county addressing sargassum or seaweed removal from our community. MBNA was not part of co-designing that agenda. We were just simply invited to attend as everyone else. We know it was the day before our annual meeting, which always makes these meetings very difficult when we have meetings very close to our last one, or it's the day before. But there was a great turnout from the general community. Again, I want to recognize those that are with the chamber, with the hotel associations, with your condominium associations for promoting this opportunity. We had a strong 100 individuals show up to the meeting. And that included some of the county and city staff, but I do think there was great community representation at that meeting. Also, we never received the invite directly. We reached out to the city because we hadn't heard, we knew it was Tuesday was coming, but we hadn't heard or received the invite. And the city sent us the link that they had only received the afternoon prior. So thank you to the city for communicating. We did submit a list of questions. We compiled the questions from our members, both on the current management, how do we manage or really use our resources wisely, and then on the collaborations and coordination within Miami-Dade County, between Miami-Dade County and the state, between Miami-Dade County and the feds, between Miami-Dade County and the rest of the coastal counties that we have in our community. And so we, that collaboration and questions that were along both of those topics were sent. We're still waiting on a response, but as soon as we receive one, we'll post it on our website. Again, if you want to be involved in the sargassum removal, if you want to be involved with the concession stand discussion, that product is almost done, the edits and those are going out, or even with Indian Creek Waterway, please, those are the three main projects. Join the Beach and Water Quality Working Group, send somebody from your property, send a manager from your hotel, send somebody to participate. Oscar Vasquez does an incredible job facilitating that meeting. His leadership this past year has been superb. We're so excited to have him on board. And so take advantage that you have someone that is there to bat for you and wants to collaborate with you on coming up with some short and long-term solutions. So we encourage you to attend that meeting the third Wednesday of the month. We have covered Indian Creek Working Group. Esteban Porcelli, do you have an update for your working group that you would like to share?
Yes, actually, their project is almost finished with the seawall. From last year, when they restarted the construction of seawall, all the pillars and wall precast concrete was already in place. It's almost finished. Soon it's going to be terminated. And now we need to know when it's going to start the working for the landscape. It's the next phase of the project. And also to finish this important project, it is necessary fix the Jersey barriers that are really in bad condition, need to do some work and finish.
So what do you mean by, Esteban, just pause right there, just so if you could clarify for the membership what you mean by fixing these Jersey barriers. And you're talking about the area along Indian Creek Drive from 24 to 30, so in front of your building and the hotels. And so what do you mean by fixing those Jersey barriers?
Well, when they...
I'm going to share.
They put it, you're going to share? Okay, when the Jersey barrier was built a couple of years ago, they finished the surface, special, doing some work that looks better. But south of 29th Street to 26, there is a Jersey barrier that was built before, and they looks very bad. and need to be fixed. That's the situation.
And
We're
hoping that it can look like this.
There is idea that in other cities painting, another city do certain art project, but you know, in actually one section, 41st to 29 looks better because was built recently, but the first part is in bad condition.
Okay, well, that's important. Do you think it's in poor condition aesthetically or also structurally? Is it
Aesthetically.
aesthetically? Okay.
Yeah, and
Aesthetics
right
is
now
something
it's
we've been
the new
advocating
section. In this video, you can see the new section. Well, practically, as you see in the video, all the seawall is almost finished from 41st to 26th. This month of May is going to be finished. The heavy work that need the big crane.
Mhm. Yeah,
The other very important issue is the separation for the city line, byline. The byline have actually separation with the 2 inches plastic pipe that is not safe and is not effective system to divide the street. Usually it's broken and disappear when the buses or car hit this stuff. You can see now in after this video. This is South 20 now. You can see now South 29. This was built in maybe in 2019. This is the new one.
Bicycle dividers.
Oh yes, exactly. You see how many is missing? A lot, because when they hit, they broken and disappear. Maintenance people come and replace in a few weeks, disappear everything. I see every day because I just was there.
Yeah. This is an embarrassment that this street has these Jersey barriers that look like they've been there for 20 years and that they've been abandoned. So we're hoping and that this gets taken care of. And of course, this is a safety issue for the bicycles. That's why bicycles aren't out there. You have to be a kamikaze to ride through there because there's no protection. There were supposed to be all kinds of different options that were given to us and assured that we would have them, and nothing has happened. So we've been patiently waiting for the landscaping for the seawall to be finished. And since it's about to happen, once this happens, then this team will aggressively begin to pursue the bike lanes once again and the aesthetics of these awful Jersey barriers that have graffiti and all kinds of things going on there. So
exactly. Before this project is going to be finished and approved by DOT, everything must be fixed because it's already 6 years since they start the construction. And I hope this for the end of the year we're going to give the final project signed.
Thank you, Esteban.
All right.
Thank you so much, Esteban. So everyone, mark your calendars. May 18th is the public meeting with Secretary Miller. We really need a good representation there. Every single member of MBNA should have at least 1 to 3 representatives at this meeting. This impacts our entire area. The project that you just heard will also be discussed. Indian Creek waterway or the project itself, they govern those Jersey barriers. Those are FDOT. The types of bike treatment, the bike lane separation treatment that can be done is also governed by FDOT. But more importantly, we have 4 major construction projects that are going to happen between 24th to 63rd Street along Collins Avenue. From 24th to 44th, you have the Triple R project, and you have a bike lane that's going to be developed there, but you have crosswalks, and you have a lot of work that construction is going to happen. But then you have 3 projects that overlap between 41st to 63rd. And then you have 1 project that intersects 44th all the way to 41st and 41st turn lanes, and as well as 41st and Collins coming eastbound. So how are all these projects going to happen? How are we going to survive this construction? We can barely handle spring break. The traffic was gridlocked when FPL was doing their first phase project. FPL is getting ready for a second phase project, and they're planning a double decker on I-95. So how this all happens in our community, what we do to prepare, how we plan for this construction management, we need, this is not the MB, I'm sorry, let's go ahead and read. We need there to be representation. This is not the MBNA calendar. Please add it. Oh,
What
it's
time?
Yeah, we just received confirmation from the Senator Chevron Jones's office a few minutes before this meeting started. But Alicia, you know how she is, Jay, like in 5 minutes, it will be up there. She'll add it when she gets the details. They're still working out what the location of it's going to be. They originally said it was going to be at the golf course, and now they're looking at a different location. Oh, they said the Chambers. I think they confirmed it was the Chambers. Kevin, did you get the information on it? I last heard it was the Chambers, the city Chambers. Monica,
Yep.
You got it. And then Monica, I believe we have a meeting tomorrow to talk and coordinate a little bit with all of the partners, what we want, what does the commissioner want to see come out of this meeting? And again, you as members, what you want to see, it's odd that I've been invited to participate in this meeting, but we're very grateful that MBNA has a role in it. If I am the MC or not, or if I'm on the panel or not, we're still going to bring the MBNA concerns to the meeting, and we want to hear from each and every one of you. Please attend an upcoming Collins working group meeting that's going to be scheduled because of this meeting. In preparation for this meeting, we want to meet internally and just make sure we have all of everyone's concerns and all of our thoughts and ideas very concisely presented so that we can take advantage of the public meeting. One of the challenges with the Sargasso meeting the other day is that we provided questions well in advance, but I don't think any of those questions were really answered during that public meeting. And we don't want the same thing to happen on the 18th. We want to provide our questions in advance, but we want that meeting to not only be informative, but also productive in terms of really understanding and brainstorming and workshopping what this means for our community, what this means for our hotels, for our condominiums, for those that work here and those that choose to live here all year round. We're already getting people saying that they want to move out because of these projects that are coming up. So please, please, please participate. Any other comments?
You're muted.
Any other comments from any of the members on anything that they'd like to discuss? Or I saw some folks come off of mute. Were there other comments that you'd like to add?
Are they going to be discussing in these meetings also that we need 2 lanes going into 41st Street coming from Collins?
Yes, that's part of it.
So that is one of the projects. Now that project needs to coordinate with the project managers of another FDOT project, the A1A project, as well as the FPL Phase 2 project. And in that project where they're going to do the 2 turn lanes, we already received the final report. It was recommended, and they will not be closing the eastbound turn from Collins North coming on 41st as per the MBNA's members' request. But to create those 2 turn lanes, they're going to take out the median and they're going to move it, and they're going to remove parking on Collins. And so it is not as simple as it looked during COVID, because during COVID, they closed that turn lane coming eastbound. This to prevent that conflict or that burden from happening for those that live south on Collins, south of 41st. They're going to have to move that, which means it's going to be construction and there's going to be delays. And that's what we really want to discuss here, is what that management plan. Manny Corrales, your hand is up.
Hi, Anna Marie. Thanks. I want to make sure that I'm not speaking out of place here, but I wanted to go back to what Alicia brought up about the extra lane along the beach for walkers. I just want to say I'm an avid bike rider, but also I'm an avid fan of my own health. And by riding on the street and even on designated bike lanes, the reality of the matter is that there's discontinuity of these bike lanes all over the place. They end abruptly, and it's just not safe. And that brief picture that Alicia showed of Indian Creek, southbound Indian Creek, 3 or 4 of those plastic bollards have been destroyed. And obviously it was not bike riders who did that, is traffic encroaching on the bike lane that has destroyed them. So what I wanted to say is that speaking with other bike riders, we all feel uneasy about going on the bike lanes, no matter how they're painted, how they're marked, etc. We like the beach walk because it feels safer. So there will be continued conflict with people walking on the beach walk. That's why I think that we need to advocate or at least explore the possibility of doing that beach walk walking area, either packing down the sand or putting the mats or whatever, having it clearly marked so we don't have bikes then intruding on that area, repeating the conflict all over again. So this should be designated only for people to walk safely without the bikers being in that area. So thank you for hearing my comments.
Thank you so much, Dr. Krause, for your input, and it will certainly be taken into account. Any other comments on this project, any other project that we've discussed today, or any other?
So I think there's a lot of confusion with this Collins North. That's my working group as far as all these projects that it just blows your mind that the FDOT, and we talked about this in the last meeting, wasn't coordinated with what we're talking about. The 2 right turn lanes is at 41st to 47th Street, Michelle, for you to understand. And that, what Anna Marie said, takes away the parking spots, preserves the westbound lane for people traveling north on Collins Avenue, trying to get on 41st Street. That preserves the westbound lane. That's been approved. The study has been completed and is projected to start in 2025. The one that we've been working on since the reason why this organization even exists is the RRR, the big one, the study. And that one is all the way through. It was from 41 to 63rd, but now it's obviously, if they're going to do 41 to 47, it'll be probably 44th to 63rd. Now, what we're saying is 58th to 63rd was just completely redone when they did the FPL did the work, and it's beautiful. Why are you going to tear it up again? We are just monitoring all this madness that's happening because there is no need to now destroy it again. However, for those that don't know, the FPL project that was completed that caused all that nightmare traffic for a couple of months that we all went nuts on, and now is entering phase 2. And phase 2 is 47th Street south. So that they're going to be digging the street and putting the FPL underneath. We're trying to see, wait a minute, coordinate, don't start both of them at the same time. And all we can do is monitor, report, try to make some sense into what is very much lack of common sense to some of these departments. And hopefully they can do one and not break it up again, because that would be insane. So that's where we are with that. It is very confusing. We get it a lot. I get a lot of questions. What do you mean they're going to break up Collins Avenue?
So I think that what would be really important is to have real clear visuals. So Marina, for that public meeting, having very large, clear visuals. This is project A, project B, project C, project D. And we could do it by timeline of those projects, and then very clearly demonstrate what MBNA is advocating for, what is projected to happen, and then like having some visuals to help. And then we could also post those on our website and communicate. We are going to close this meeting in just a few minutes, but before we do, I'd like to give the floor to anyone that has any comments, any agenda items, or anything that you'd like to see discussed. At our next June meeting, we'll be discussing projects that are neglected in our MidBeach area, both hotels and condominiums that have not been well kept. We'll also give an update on this public meeting, as well as the Sargassum and some of the other projects that we're working on. We're looking to expand this coming year to tackle some new priorities as some of our ongoing or long-term or the priorities we've had the last 5 years start coming and wrapping up. We're going to be able to pick up some new ones that have been kind of just idling while we've been focusing on some of these bigger items. So please feel free to reach out to us anytime. Check out our website, midbeach.net, and feel free to email, call, text, or reach out to any one of us. Please ask your property if you're an active member. If not, please go ahead and pay your membership. It's $250 per hotel and $50 per condominium. Any other comments before we adjourn? I'll stay on while folks decide to log off. We'll stop the recording and we'll be here to answer any questions offline. Thank you, everybody, for joining today.
Thank you.
I thank you, everybody.
Fabulous meeting.